Look no further than what's going on with Sora. This is big topic the last couple weeks. OpenAI debuted Sora 2. Sora 2 is the invite-only iOS app that is like TikTok, but it's all AI-generated content. And this, in conjunction with the announcement of Tilly Norwood, something I talked about in my last YouTube video, the AI actress, is starting to spook a lot of people in Hollywood because this feels like a potential Uber moment where through brute force, these tech companies are coming in and they're displacing entire industry. And in this case, displacing Hollywood. Hollywood is already on the decline. We talked about this in the last video where there are fewer projects being greenlit. Studios are being more judicious about how they spend on content, and jobs are drying up. So what does Sora mean? What is this? What's going on here? So I'll read this other article, the deadline. Yeah, this is from a few days ago. Sora is coming. Sora is here, and Hollywood is sore. Clever title. The promise and peril of AI is not a brand new phenomenon, but it was not until this week that studios and top agency CAA collectively sounded the alarm over one of the most threatening developments, Sora 2. The new OpenAI generative video model allows users to create social media-ready videos with just a brief text prompt. The result can be a product of the user's imagination or a fan fiction-like story using recognizable properties. The app's remix feature allows for mind-bending mashups like Tupac Shakur sitting on the set with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Michael Jackson doing jackass-like stunts, and Pikachu strapping on a helmet to fight in the Thin Red Line. In response to the fervor from content creators over the unauthorized use of their work, OpenAI's Sam Altman walked back the company's initial approach of having IP owners opt out of having their stuff fed into the model. He wrote last week, "We will give rights holders more granular control over generations of characters similar to the opt-in model for likeness, but with additional controls." Hollywood isn't acquiescing. Disney and several other players opted out from the beginning. CAA on Wednesday evening put out a stern statement. Sora 2, the mega agency said, exposes our clients and their intellectual property to significant risk. The Motion Picture Association's Charles Rifkin, speaking for Hollywood's major studios, said in a statement that it was OpenAI's responsibility to prevent infringement on the Sora service. OpenAI needs to take immediate action to address these issues. They haven't issued a response. Left unchecked, AI holds the possibility of allowing for rampant piracy of content. This is why 3 studios, Warner Brothers, Walt Disney, and NBC Universal, have filed lawsuits against San Francisco-based firm Midjourney, AI firm Midjourney, over the use of protected IP, ranging from DC superheroes to the Star Wars franchise in their service. The 3 studios recently sued Chinese AI firm Minimax for willful and brazen copyright infringement. Last week, Disney sent a cease and desist letter to Character AI. Notice that none of them are suing OpenAI. They're suing everyone around them except the one that's going to fucking steamroll them. They don't have enough. They just don't have enough to go against OpenAI, or they're going after the quote-unquote little guy. These are not little guys, but they're not suing OpenAI, even though they're the ones that are introducing some of the most disruptive, destructive technology. None of the studios, however, have sued OpenAI, there we go, which last week reached a valuation of $500 billion. These companies don't stand a chance. What's Disney's market cap? It's over twice the size of Disney's market cap. Disney has been around since 1923, over 100 years old. Warner Bros. Discovery, $42 million. OpenAI loses this money in the fucking couch. The biggest and best known of AI companies to burst on the scene in recent years counts Microsoft as a major backer and gained wide traction with its large language model ChatGPT. Individual Hollywood players instead have been vocal in warning the possibility of dire consequences in the country's art and culture if copyright is not protected. Trump has already said that you can't do AI with copyright. That's what he said. AI and copyright, it's over. We need to basically go post copyright. That's what a lot of these AI companies are pushing for. We firmly believe that America's global AI leadership must not come at the expense of our essential creative industries. Yeah, good luck. We want to let rights holders decide. There may be some edge cases. Studios are split, caught in a limbo state between the promise of efficiency and innovation and the risk. Bruised by the epic battle by the Writers Guild Association and SAG-AFTRA, the union's dual strike, largely fueled by fears about AI, they have settled into a curious phase of inaction because they're scared. A long-time major studio veteran, the big boys in our industry need to challenge OpenAI. One long-time studio exec tells Deadline in an interview, and it just hasn't happened. For years, Hollywood content creators have warned about piracy, whether through bootlegging VHS tapes, BitTorrent, or renegade streaming providers. The fear has always been that the out-of-control technology will enable unauthorized content that undercuts the entertainment business. That is still the case, and the studios are still pressing for tougher copyright and anti-piracy laws. But when the Copyright Office solicited input on how it will handle AI, the response from studios through the MPA was that existing laws were sufficient. Sources say that simple reason for the approach, not all studio members are on the same page, that the MPA members include not just legacy studios, but now Netflix and Amazon. There's also caution among the studios that over any law that may stifle the growth of AI and the technology that holds the promise of greatly reducing out-of-control production costs. This is the key insight here. These studios haven't come out and said anything about OpenAI, and they're actually very open to embracing this technology as long as they're able to monetize it, because that's going to reduce their production budget. It's going to make it a lot cheaper to produce content. Remember, these are companies that are experts in creating content, and if they embrace this new technology that now makes it easier for you to scan actors and deploy them in whatever way you need, whether as extras or as lead characters, or reducing VFX effects, CGI, all of this stuff. This is all what AI promises to potentially deliver, and they want to make sure that they can make money off of it. So that's why they're trying to have their cake and eating too. They are trying to squash the smaller firms because they can push them around, but they know that they can't push OpenAI around. They want to license Sora. They don't want it to go away. They want to license it and make sure that nobody can duplicate Mickey Mouse or Superman or whatever their intellectual property is on the Sora app. Trump's influence. In taking a much more hands-off approach in AI, Donald Trump has made it clear that content creators can't expect to be owed money if they're used in AI. So it's just, we're all just going to become AI slop, and you're going to like it. You can't be expected to have a successful AI program when every single article, book, or anything else that you've read or studied, you're supposed to pay for. Of course. Why would you pay content creators, is what they're saying. You did all the work of creating the content, but how am I expected to steal all your stuff if legally you can sue me? That's what he's saying. You have to be able to steal the shit. That's how the OpenAI companies are going to make all their money. It's not reasonable to expect them to compensate you because they're too busy investing in Oracle and Nvidia to fucking pay you. You just can't do it because it's not doable, he said. You can't do it. It's not doable. Look at this great AI. China's not doing it, he said. That's always the boogeyman. China, George Soros. So all the buzzwords. So it's like, don't look over here. Don't question the fact that I'm making sure that these companies can monopolize all the AI-generated content. Worry about China because they're buying all this Argentine soy. They're holding all of our rare earth minerals. They're making all your cheap plastic shit more expensive. You should be mad at them, not at OpenAI. If we regulate it, we're going to give China the edge. It's all fear-mongering. He fired the copyright person. Yeah, and then this has been going on all the last couple of weeks. Variety and Deadline are all over it. CAA slams OpenAI Sora for posing serious and harmful risks. Compensation is a fundamental right, not if you ask Trump. CAA is unwavering in our commitment to protect our clients and the integrity with their creations. The misuse of new technologies carries consequences that reach far beyond entertainment and media. The statement goes on to question OpenAI of disregarding global copyright principles and blatantly dismissing creators' rights. It deemed control and permission for use and compensation a fundamental right for the usage of copyright materials, and that anything less should be considered unacceptable. This is the talent agency, but these are also the talent agencies that will hire an AI actor the second that they get good enough. So these people are not saints either. We are open to hearing the solutions that OpenAI, listen to that. We're open to hearing the solutions. Yeah, we want to cut. We want our cut. That OpenAI has these critical issues and remains steadfast in our work with intellectual property, businesses, and leaders, and creative guilds and unions. They don't give a fuck about their unions. The Motion Picture Association was one of the first institutions to disavow OpenAI. Again, Disney and Universal sued Midjourney. Tilly Norwood, that's the actress that is getting people to talk about it. It's interesting, after I talked about Tilly Norwood last time, I was listening to a podcast where they were saying this is a form of advertising. They're trying to get people to talk about it, get people to accept that AI actors and Tilly Norwood are inevitable, which, I'm not saying one way or another, but they're getting them to accept that they're inevitable as a way of advertising. Looming contract between Hollywood studios and above-the-line unions, confusion around AI raised by the debut of synthetic actress Tilly Norwood. These are going to expire in 2026. Norwood, whose arrival last month stirred up an industry tempest, a difficult situation, and the union did not get anything on completely synthetic characters in the last round, so maybe they will last time. Another strike incoming. This is going to get ugly. It's not going to matter, I don't think. The unions are going to get destroyed and gutted, that they're not going to need to negotiate with them because everybody's AI. Digital scanning of human actors, something that I did talk to a producer for a major Hollywood studio. They did say that they are doing this. I heard this from somebody who works there. For the purpose of using their likeness in film and TV, projects another risky, tricky area for unions, given how untested the legal questions are. I actually have a client right now whose body is being scanned, Nolan said. What I received from the company was just sort of a standard certificate of engagement. It was all rights, just like you would normally use. And I said, well, what are you going to do with this data? What's the scope of the use? Interesting question. Because of the intense pressure on productions to move quickly, Nolan said, everyone would just like to turn around a talent agreement tomorrow. Hurry up, don't read it, just sign it. But the complexities of copyright issues are raised by AI, which is evolving at a breakneck clip, requires a lot more thought, she argued. The way that we have always done business can't be done in the future. It can't be done instantaneously, she continued. You have to take a moment and think about, what are you doing? What are you capturing? What are you going to use it for? How are you going to use it? How long do you guys have access to it? And what happens in the long term? Who holds on to it? Is it safe? Is it going to be destroyed? All valid questions. Another vexing area is the trove of unproduced screenplays whose copyrights are owned by studios and streamers. They could potentially be used to train AI models, Handel said. The union's agreements as of 2 and 2.5 years ago did not address. Hey, what about retroactivity? That may come up in the current situation. A lot of uncertainty about how this is going to shake up the business model. But it's something that these studios are struggling with production costs. They're struggling with the business model of streaming. There are no DVDs to make money on the back end, So they need to find new ways to monetize, and I think one way to do it is by cutting out the middleman, aka the actor, cutting out the actor. Because once we don't have to pay them anything and all we have to do is pay them some software fee, we'll get back to making more money.